You know, in North Korean cinema, a film can be a celebrated masterpiece one day and a forbidden artifact the very next. A national treasure can literally become a state secret overnight. Its creators are erased, its reels are locked away. This is the strange world of North Korea's ghost films, where history isn't just written, it's constantly being rewritten, frame by painful frame.
Just think about that for a second. How is that even possible? A piece of art considered so threatening that two mortal enemies both make it illegal to watch. It sounds like a riddle, right? But it's not. It's the bizarre reality of cinema on the Korean peninsula, where a single film can be locked away in two different vaults for two totally contradictory reasons. And here's the perfect example. Take the monster movie Pulgasari. In North Korea, it's banned. Why? Because its director escaped the country, which made him a traitor. But for decades, down in South Korea, it was also banned under their National Security Act because it was seen as enemy propaganda. Get this, one movie, two bans for reasons that completely cancel each other out. It's just wild. So to really understand how this happens, we have to go back to probably the most dramatic chapter in North Korean film history. I mean, it's a story that has everything: a kidnapping, a socialist Godzilla, and the very first on-screen kiss the nation had ever seen.
This quote? It comes directly from Kim Jong-il, the future leader of North Korea, and, believe it or not, a massive film fanatic. He was just so frustrated with his own country's movies. He thought they were stale, all plot, no heart. So what was his solution? It wasn't to train new directors, no. It was to kidnap one of South Korea's best.
The whole story kicks off in 1978. The famous South Korean director Shin Song-ok and his ex-wife, actress Choi Eun-hee, are abducted and taken to Pyongyang. After years of imprisonment and re-education, Kim Jong-il personally reunites them and puts them in charge of fixing the film industry. And what happened next was this brief but absolutely explosive golden age. They produced these groundbreaking films, including one with the first ever on-screen kiss, a monster movie, and a serious award-winning drama. And then, in 1986, they pulled off an incredible escape.
The second they defected, the regime's reaction was swift, and it was total. Every single film Shin and Choi had ever touched was immediately banned. They were scrubbed from all the records, their film reels locked away. Their entire revolutionary contribution to North Korean cinema just vanished. Overnight, their work became ghost films. And just look at what was lost to the North Korean public. Pulgasari, their answer to Godzilla, Love, Love, My Love, which was so popular it led to the first known cases of ticket scalping in Pyongyang. Salt, which actually won a major international acting award for Choi Eun-hee, and even an Emissary of No Return, the first North Korean film ever shot on location in Europe. A whole era of innovation, just deleted. But you know, sometimes a film doesn't need a defecting director to become dangerous. Sometimes all it takes is for reality to get in the way. In the 1990s, North Korea was hit by this catastrophic famine, and all of a sudden, the state's own propaganda started sending a very different and very dangerous message.
The famine is known as the Arduous March, and it killed hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions. For ordinary people, the gap between the happy, well-fed farmers you see in movies and the actual starvation on their own streets became this grotesque, unbearable lie. And that crisis of faith didn't just stay on the streets, it spilled right into the darkness of the nation's movie theaters.
Okay, so this is where it gets truly fascinating. The regime had produced this popular TV series called Rim Kokjung. It's about a 16th century folk hero who, kind of like Robin Hood, fought against corrupt landlords. Now, the state's message was supposed to be about the evils of the old feudal system, but starving audiences in the 90s saw something completely different. They saw the corrupt landlords on screen and thought of the party officials who were hoarding food. They started cheering for the rebels, but they weren't cheering for history. They were cheering against their own government. The regime's response says it all. They panicked. The series was actually inciting dissent. So in 1997, they banned their own hit historical drama. It was just a stunning admission of fear. It proved that when a population's reality becomes too grim, even the state's official version of history can become a weapon against it.
Now, let's fast forward to the modern era. Under Kim Jong-un, the methods of erasure have evolved. It's no longer just about locking film reels in a vault. Now, history can be deleted with a few clicks in an editing suite, and the consequences are just as severe. The main principle behind all this modern censorship is something called guilt by association. It's pretty straightforward. If a powerful official is executed for treason, everyone and everything associated with them becomes toxic. And this isn't just about their family. It extends to the films they supported or the actors they knew. The art itself is treated like a co-conspirator. And the process is chillingly systematic. First comes the purge, like the shocking 2013 execution of Kim Jong-un's own uncle, Jang Song-taek. Right away, all media is recalled. Documentaries featuring Jang were re-edited to digitally scrub him out. Then, the purge ripples outward. Films starring actors linked to Jang's network get banned, or, in some cases, reshot with new performers. It's basically digital Stalinism for the 21st century. And this has devastating human consequences. There was this huge hit film called The Schoolgirl's Diary. It was so popular, it even got distributed in France. But its star, Park Mi-hyung, was connected to Jung's faction through her marriage. After the purge, she and her entire family reportedly vanished into a political prison camp. A celebrated actress, just erased from public life because of who she was related to. So that brings us to today, where the regime's biggest fear is no longer its own ghost films. The battlefield has totally shifted. The new enemy isn't a film reel in some state archive. It's a tiny piece of plastic that gets smuggled across the border. According to defectors, almost no one watches domestic North Korean films anymore. They just see them as boring and repetitive. The real cultural currency, the thing that people actually risk their lives for, is foreign media, especially South Korean dramas and Hollywood movies. And this has created a whole new media war inside the country. The state's propaganda is just one little slice of what people are actually consuming. The real action is happening in secret, with smuggled K-dramas and movies being passed around on USB drives. This underground network has just torn a huge hole in the regime's ideological control. And the regime is fighting back with, honestly, terrifying force. In 2020, they passed this reactionary ideology and culture rejection law. The punishments are extreme. Not long ago, footage emerged of two 16-year-old boys being sentenced to 12 years of hard labor in front of a stadium full of their classmates. And their crime? Watching K-drama. Which really leads us to the central conflict today. What happens when a government's massive apparatus of censorship designed to erase its own history is completely bypassed by a simple USB stick? When the carefully constructed reality you see on state TV is shattered by a single glimpse of modern life and soul. That's the battle being fought right now for the future of North Korea. Because in the end, the story of North Korea's banned films shows that you can purge actors, you can digitally erase officials, and you can lock away entire movies. But what you can't erase is memory. Like a hidden reel of film, it just has a way of surviving, waiting in the dark for the day the lights finally come back on.